Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Running Reimagined. For those of you that don't know, my name is Coach Dylan, and this segment, if you're new to it, started on Monday. This is video 3 of this build up to the White River 50 mile. The reason for this whole segment was really just a conversation I had with a former teammate of mine, and I was telling him the things I was going through within, my running career and experience, and how I was in a bit of a funk, kind of up to the new year, and I really needed something big to sign up for and to excite me, and so that happened to be, a 50 mile in my head. That was like the next challenge for me to kind of go after, and so I signed up for the White River 50 mile. It's July 27th, I believe. So that's kind of my next challenge, my next exciting, race to shoot for. I've been able to really turn things around. At the beginning of 2019, I was 181 pounds. Now I'm down, and I weighed myself this morning at about 164, 165 pounds. So I've lost, a considerable amount of weight, and just going through the process of doing the work. And the goal was not to lose the weight. It was just, a product of doing the work and trying to prepare myself in the right way. But, one thing that I talked about with my teammate was, he was really talking about, taking people through this and the things I've learned. Because I think that I ran a half marathon in January, and it was very humbling because it was the first time I had run in a few months, really. And I ended up having to walk for part of it. It was a trail half marathon, but I've never had to walk in a race, in my entire life. I've always gone from being in really good shape, as a kid through high school to, competing in college. And then after college, I've been able to even just float on that, 10 to 12 years of a really strong base of running. And so I feel like I'm kind of building myself, back up from scratch. And so I think I wanted to take people along this journey because I think there's a lot that people can be able to learn, and you can be able to ask questions. And I think a lot of people can relate to going through those funks where you don't run for a few months, and then you're trying to get back into it, and it's really hard. And getting through that first little bit, I think, is the hardest part. And not worrying about your times and your paces, I had talked about in the video before. Really setting yourself up, the mental outlook and the expectations that you should have. Really, preparing yourself in the right way mentally, so then you can be able to feel good about what you're doing. When I had started running in January, like I said, I ran that half marathon, and I had to walk for part of it. And I think my average pace, I think I ran it was a 2-hour half marathon. My best half marathon is right around like a 1:13. So I'm a long ways from stringing together 5:30s, but that's okay. I'm totally okay with that. I understand that this is where I am, and my goal is not to worry about things I've done before, but just focus on where I am and improving, that from week to week. And I know it's going to take a process, and over time I might get back there, I might not, but understanding that the goal is to focus on where I am now. And this whole week is kind of going to be about how I was able to turn the corner, get back in the rhythm of running again, because I've gotten a lot of feedback from people messaging Running Reimagined, just asking to really expand on this and talk about the specific things that I did to help me lose the weight. And so that's really what this one's about, because I kind of shifted my whole lifestyle back to a runner's lifestyle over the last couple months here. But huge piece of that is obviously diet. You have to eat well, on top of, exercise, sleep, and nutrition. So just kind of diving into this a little bit, talking about diet. What I think the first thing that you can do, and the first thing I did, was I got on the same page with my girlfriend. And I think the best thing you can do is just get on the same page with the people you're living with. Tell them what you're doing, and hopefully they'll want to be a part of it. If they want to be a part of it, that's going to be make the process for you a lot easier. But what we did was we basically took all the food that was in the pantry and we laid it out on the counter, and we kind of basically created two piles, and the things that fit the diet that we're trying to eat now, and the things that didn't. And I guess we kind of created three piles, because we created a pile of the stuff that it wasn't even borderline good for us. We just knew it wasn't going to help us out. So that stuff went into a donation pile that either went to a donation or it went to a neighbor. But we had basically those piles, and the diet that we're kind of just following right now. I know there's a lot of things going around out there, but what we're doing right now is we're just eating natural foods, non-processed foods. We're trying to shop at the local grocery stores, not necessarily the main chain, eating organic foods. And really our goal is to eat that in our own home. We understand that when we go outside of our own home, there's going to be, times where we're going to eat things that, aren't a part of that or don't meet that criteria. But the majority of our meals are going to be, especially during the work week where we both have 9-to-5 jobs, is going to be, within our own home. So we control a lot of that. So anything that we're eating within our own home over the last couple months now has been very clean. And like I said, that doesn't mean on the weekend, we might go over to someone else's house and, they only have this food, and this food might not fit our criteria, but that's okay. We understand that the majority of our meals in our own home are going to be clean. And so that's really what we've done. We created the two piles up on the counter. We have all the foods that fit the criteria, all the foods that was kind of borderline and didn't. And then we separated it in the pantry, and we're just no longer buying the foods on the right. And once these foods on the right are gone, then, we're not looking to resupply it. So, and really focusing on eating the healthy, natural, organic, local, non-processed type foods, generally low carbs right now, which I don't really want to go into that argument because I know that's a whole argument by itself. But cutting back on alcohol, we don't really drink that much inside our own home, and even going out, we're not really drinking that much either. I know that you can cut, a lot of, by cutting out alcohol for some people, it can be a big deal. The other thing that I was thinking about this morning was, I love to drink coffee. I grew up here in the Seattle area, where the birthplace of Starbucks. I drink more coffee than a human being should, and that's one thing that I want to cut back on. So what I did was I basically portioned out, how much coffee should be for 1 week to have about a cup or two a day, and I basically put the rest of it in a Ziploc bag and told my girlfriend to hide it. So I don't know where it is. I'm not looking for it, but it's out of sight, out of mind sort of thing. So now I'm just drinking, a cup or two in the morning, and then I don't have access to it after that because it's just, I don't know where it is, honestly. So that might be another tip. If your roommate, say, or your significant other doesn't want to buy into the whole diet that you're trying to go through, then maybe they can be a part of it that way by helping you keep things out of sight, out of mind. So then you're only seeing the healthy things. So then when you need to go grab those snacks, you're grabbing the healthy snacks. That's really been kind of our plan. It's really simple. I know there's all those different diets out there right now that people are doing, and I've tried a lot of them. But this is just something that works for us. And I think the biggest question that you need to ask yourself is what's going to fit your lifestyle and the people that you live with. Because I think if you can be able to, do it with someone else, it's going to be that much easier. But what's really going to fit your lifestyle? I think that's the biggest question that you can ask. And if that's going in, on keto or paleo or something like that, then that might be what you're doing. That might work for you, and that's great. But I really think the big question, because it's just something that has to last over time. It's just like mileage, in your training, and how consistency is really key. If you're able to put together consistent weeks, then you're going to really start to see the results. So the diet is the same way. You have to be able to keep the diet consistent. And so for us, this is what we're doing. And so far it's been working, really well. So that's kind of what I wanted to share today, was just going into diet. Tomorrow, I think I had talked about yesterday that today I was going to go into questions. So maybe tomorrow I'll go into questions, key questions that you can ask yourself to help kind of, again, set the mental framework. It will require you to do some journaling and kind of some thought process, type exercises maybe on your runs. But if you can figure out some of these key questions, then I think it can also help you get back on track. And so this whole first week is talking about, really the stuff that I did to help get myself back on track to where I am now. This will be really, I think, my third week now of what I would consider really good running training. This will be my third week of about 40 miles is the goal here. I'll run about a 7 mile. I'm looking up at my whiteboard. I'll run about a 7 mile easy run today. Tomorrow will be like a midweek long run. Thursday will be easy. Friday will be rest. Saturday will be long run. Sunday will be kind of a moderate long run. It'll be about 7-8 miles. So I guess not too bad. And then it'll all equal out to about 42 miles this week is kind of the goal. So, and then I might increase the mileage just after that. Right now, for the next 4 to 6 weeks, I guess not for the next 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, I'm really just focused on building that foundation and putting in the miles. As I know, and the things I've read and the people I've talked to in ultra running, it's really important to build up that foundation. And then after about, this kind of 4 to 6 weeks of base training, then I'm going to start to go into a little bit of workouts, start to go out to the terrain that I'm going to see on the course. I had kind of grown up on this course a little bit, so it'll kind of be going back, and I know the area pretty well, so it's just going to be going back and running some of that, because there's a lot of pounding that's going to be on the legs, especially on the descents. This is a run that you have a relatively big climb going up to basically the mountain ridge, and then you run along the mountain ridge, and then you drop back down, and then you kind of do the same thing up the other side of the ridge and come down. And from what I hear, it's on the reports, it's the downhill that is really the killer. So that's what I have. If you guys would like me to talk about anything specific, feel free to put it in the comments below. I'd be happy to fit that into this talk. This is basically just going to be a morning little segment where I just talk about my training. I talk about the things I'm going through and the things I've done to get me where I am. And I've just gotten a lot of feedback right now talking about how I was able to go from at the beginning of the new year to now and make that shift and make that change. And so that's kind of what this week is. But if you want me to talk about anything else, feel free to just let me know, and I'd be happy to help you out any way I can. So, all right, guys, have a great day, and feel free to like this video. If you know somebody else who would enjoy this segment, share it with them. It's our goal to really help as many runners as possible, and we feel that using these social media channels are really the best way to do it. So take care, guys.